I was pretty brief in my Everspace 1 video, and that's because I had played Everspace 2. And that's just an improved version of Everspace 1 with one critical difference. Everspace 1 is a roguelite and Everspace 2 is an open world game. And I think that's the better format for a space sim or a spaceship shooter, whatever you want to call it. You get more invested in your ship and the world because you don't get separated from it by death and a roguelite investment screen. You can almost think of Everspace 1 as the tech demo for what they wanted Everspace 2 to be. Like they used the first one to learn things they would need for the sequel. I say that because of the improvements from 1 to 2. In short, the movement is smoother, the game looks way more polished, the guns are sexier, the story presentation and writing is miles better. It's just better. I don't think you need to play Everspace 1 to enjoy Everspace 2, especially when it comes to story, and I will help with that in the premise by summarizing Everspace 1. Premise. Before the events of Everspace 1, Adam Roslin was a colonial soldier and a geneticist or something, and probably minored in computer science or something, because his clones can hack every computer terminal they come across. The Colonials, the human space faction, was in a war with an alien race of lizard people called the Okar. It was a pretty bad war with lots of death and stuff, and then they had a peace treaty and created the demilitarized zone. After the war, Adam and his friend Seth got hired to create clones of the Okar by some shady colonial military man. Adam learned that the clones were intended to break the peace treaty, starting the war again. Adam thought that that wasn't very ethical and protested. So, Seth and the military man injected him with a cytotoxin that is basically a slavery injection that makes him docile and more willing to work for them, but he still had some free will, and he used that to escape by making a bomb, kind of like that one scene in Breaking Bad. The cytotoxin was slowly killing him, so he started some cloning process on himself so he could basically get a new body for him to inhabit or something, using science as opposed to the demon magic you would usually use for that sort of thing. He then freezed himself in a different location than where the cloning process is taking place. And Everspace 1 is all about playing as various clones trying to get to Adam. During that journey you meet various characters like Carly Sharp, Adam Roslin's sister that dies, Seth Nobu, Adam's former friend and former slaver who the clone then kills. He kills the shady military man too. He also helps a furry space alien named Elec establish his gang in the DMC. He meets Master Throng, who definitely wants to harvest your kidneys, and of course your main companion, the ship's AI. The clone gets to Adam, and Adam realizes that the clone is effectively an actual person now. So Adam doesn't want to go through with his demon possession ritual, and instead helps the clone become genetically a normal human with a normal lifespan. But there are still a lot of Adam Roslin clones out there, but the one you play in Everspace 2 is probably supposed to be the clone that managed to become normal in Everspace 1. You start as that clone in Everspace 2, working as a gun for hire for GNB, a space company, with your friend called Ben. The guys you are escorting get attacked, Ben gets hurt, and you both get captured. You meet a guy called Dax during your stay in a criminal gang's dungeon and then escape. And you want to get out of the DMC and get Ben some medical help. And now the actual game starts. Combat/gameplay. This is not an open world space sim. This is an open world space shooter. This means that everything you do in the game is in service to the combat experience. And the other stuff you do, mainly some mining, isn't very deep, at least compared to the combat. But let's get into it. How has the combat improved since Everspace 1? Well, I think the guns look better, but the movement is definitely better, because you can use shift to boost into all directions, making it far easier to maneuver and dodge enemy fire, and because of that, ironically, I moved around less. I wasn't boosting and flying around to get away and hide as much, because it was far easier to just move in an unpredictable way. But it isn't accurate to say that I was moving less. I do move around more in Everspace 2, I just move less of a distance. I don't need to fly from cover to cover like in Everspace 1, because dodging is much more effective in Everspace 2. And I have to move around more. At least put a lot more effort into aiming, because the AI is also way better at dodging. They move so unpredictably. I never thought a space shooter could remind me of Apex Legends. Guns. You have a good variety and some are harder to hit than others, and each is better at different things. If an enemy has shields, a pulse laser is your best bet as long as you can hit your shots. A lot of health and armor, a Gatling gun, but again, hit your shots. If you find it easier to hit your shots by aiming at the ships rather than some movement predicting reticle, use the coil gun or the Gauss rifle. The Gauss rifle starts shooting slowly and then the fire rate increases exponentially until very fast pew pew. But the coil gun has a steady fire rate, so I like that more. But my favorite is the flak cannon. Each shot deals a lot of damage and will hit pretty much everything you aim it at. And best of all, can mine ore nodes in one shot. The best change Everspace 2 brings to the weapons is that your movement boost energy and weapon energy are separate. So you don't need to balance your energy usage, especially since each weapon has its own energy meter. So if you run out of one, swap to the other one while the first one charges. So lots of options for guns and you will probably find one you like, but there is a leveling system and you will probably feel forced to use a gun you don't particularly like because it's a higher level than the one you do like. The secondary weapons, missiles and mines, they do not feel as useful in Everspace 2 as they did in Everspace 1. Are you getting tired of the comparisons between the games yet? Here, the secondary weapons are just a little extra damage, but in the first one they were like a get out of jail free card. They were so powerful. So secondary weapons are less useful, but it feels more like they balance the damage between primary and secondary weapons. So the primary are a little stronger and the secondary a little weaker. Where is the Seeker missile battery? Bring it back right now. Do it. The variety in secondary weapons is lacking. It's pretty much just rockets and mines. You also have consumables to heal yourself and stuff like that, and I almost never used them. Devices, however, I used a lot, and I think the devices are why secondary weapons feel nerfed. Devices are very powerful and incredibly useful now. I'll tell you about the ones I use. The EMP generator, the corrosion injector and the missile defense system. The EMP generator is a get out of jail free card. Lots of ships around you dealing a lot of damage to you? Just use the EMP to disable all of them temporarily and kill them. This has saved me several times. Corrosion injector applies damage over time on the target ship's hull, ignoring the shields. This on its own is enough to kill a lot of ships, and you don't even have to aim. It's just free damage. Finally, the missile defense system. Getting a lot of missiles shot at you? Just activate this and don't worry about it anymore. Yeah, they are very powerful. Almost too powerful. but they are balanced by the fact that most of the time you are fighting alone against many enemies, so it's more like they level the playing field, especially if you fight enemies that are a higher level than you, because higher level enemies deal a lot more damage to you than enemies on your level. This could be a point of annoyance, but oddly I'm fine with it, and it's nice to have the occasional challenge, since a lot of the time I feel like I'm cutting through butter. You have one more tool in your arsenal, the ship's ultimate. There are 8 types of ships, each with their own unique ultimate. The Sentinel, the ship you start with, has the lightning gun ultimate, which is like a chain lightning, so if you shoot one enemy, it will chain to the enemies near it. Quite powerful, but takes a while to charge, which really is true of all the ultimates. The Interceptor has an ultimate that buffs your weapon damage, and finally, the Vindicator. I love this ship. The ships are all different and are good at specific things, but the Vindicator is the most unique, because it is a drone ship. So if you kill an enemy ship, you might get a ship wreckage from which you can spawn a drone. The ship I got can have 6 drones, and when you have 6 drones, you use wreckages to repair the drones. But the ship is a little too powerful, because when you have all 6 drones, enemies are too preoccupied with the drones to pay any attention to you, so you can just chill and kill everyone with almost no consequences, since they pay so little attention to you. Oh yeah, the ultimate for the Vindicator. It just spawns 6 drones if you have none, and makes the drones stronger, I think. So in summary, on normal difficulty I didn't find the combat that challenging. It was very rare that I felt like I was in an actual life or death situation. I just felt overpowered, but I still had fun because the combat is fluid and engaging. And it helps that everything looks so good. The combat is a lot of fun, but the best experience is probably had on hard difficulty, where you might have to be more strategic in battles. Exploration. I didn't really like exploration in Everspace 1, I thought it was a little tedious, where you spent a long time just looking around hoping you find something. That is rarely the case in Everspace 2. It's way more obvious where stuff is, like, is some loot going to be near a building or this landmark looking thing, or is it gonna be in the middle of nowhere? The maps are less empty, so it's easier to figure out where stuff might be, and you usually find a lot of stuff while going to a quest marker. Yeah, there's lots of missions. Well, not lots, but enough. Story missions, side missions, and some jobs you can pick up from GNB, like delivering some goods, defending a ship from an attack, attacking a pirate base, or sweeping some mines. By the way, your radar or whatever seems to have far more range, so icons for stuff will appear from further away. The new cruise flight thing that makes you travel fast through space also makes exploring less tedious, because hey, you go from place to place faster, and usually you have a lot of cool space stuff to look at. This is an open world game and you travel from place to place via supralight. And while you're in supralight, you might see a distress beacon or an unknown signal. These just lead to a combat scenario. Some places you travel to also have location challenges. Some of them are tedious, but only because I took too long to figure them out. Because I'm stupid. These challenges will be like find the hidden crates or repair broken stuff on a space station, or fight a wave battle against some enemies. I like these, it's more content. And it shakes up the monotony of only really doing combat. I mean, I like the combat a lot, but sometimes you just want to be a good Samaritan and fix some leaky pipes. But fuck this planet. Fuck this ocean planet. You have to go into the ocean, find some submarines and your weapons don't work, and then I got lost in the ocean and I got terrified because there might be a shark or an octopus down there. I'm never going back there. Other than that, the exploration and loot gathering is good in this game. By the way, there is a crafting system so you can make your own guns and equipment from the loot you gather. The story has also improved a lot since Everspace 1, better writing, characters feel more fleshed out, and the plot is way more interesting. The main objective for Adam Clone Roslin is to get out of the DMC. For that, he needs money, or just some way out. But from the premise, Dax has some job lined up that will give you more than enough money to get out of the DMC. So, you will be setting that up and getting some medical help for Ben. In accomplishing these goals, you will meet lots of different people who you will have to strike deals with. So, something like this, for example. You need to get a flux capacitor or whatever for the big job, and Frank happens to know where you can get a flux capacitor. So, you try to get some info from him, and he says, "Sure, I know where you can get one of those. I'll tell ya if you kill some pirates for me." Stuff like that. The missions aren't that simple, but you get the gist. The motivations of people were believable and, spoiler, you end up gathering a big crew. And that crew is very likable. Like the tough as nails redhead doctor, the little furball Elec who can't shut the fuck up. I actually smiled when I saw him in the game. And my favorite, the AI from the first game.
Bubble Northing insinuated Narish triumphate.
Same to you, buddy.
His whole thing is just being annoyed at everyone else, and I love it.
An astonishing display of bravado. Or stupido. I cannot decide.
The presentation is better than Everspace 1, but it's still mostly static images with some dialogue. But the dialogue is interesting and the cutscenes are animated enough. At least for me. I found myself pretty engaged and invested in the story, and that is because of the characters, like Tareen the Okar merchant. An Okar merchant willing to trade with humans is rare, and he's also like exiled from his people or something, but he still cares about his people. And that made him endearing to me. They did a great job with the characters. But this is an early access game, and that is very apparent in the story and really nowhere else. No bugs or performance issues. Wow. In the latest chapter of the early access, a side story was released called Gang Wars, which has text-to-speech placeholders for all the dialogue.
Sorry, but that was Maddox. I think I remember you.
Text-to-speech sucks, and it's a far better experience to just wait for the actual voiceover to be finished. But in short, story good. Conclusion. I played Everspace 2 for 42 hours and I enjoyed every single hour. But now I am angry at the game, because I have reached the end of the currently available story, so I have to wait like some peasant until they release the next chapters or until the game just releases. If there is anything I would criticize, it's the balancing. I felt a little too powerful. Other than that, I had fun the whole time playing it. I recommend this game to all the space cowboys, and I give the game "Where are the fucking seeker missiles?" out of. Other than that, the game is awesome. Wow, this video took a while to get out. Yeah, learning software engineering is hard. 3 math courses at the same time. Kill me, please. I guess I'll start working on the Halloween video now, since my studies steal so much of my time. Subscribe, call me Uncle Brian, and have an awesome day.